Hey everybody, today we are going to be going over the four main historical thinking skills that we are going to be covering this year. Now today is just a brief introduction to those skills. However, throughout the year we will keep returning to them, keep practicing them, and keep um, getting them down. So like I said, this is just an introduction. The first of those skills is sourcing. The purpose of sourcing is that final question you see here. Is the document reliable? Why or why not? In other words, when you source a document, you answer the question, can we trust this and why or why not? To get to that point, you need to ask yourself the questions you see there. Who wrote this? Was the author's perspective? Why and when and where was it written? Answering those questions will help you answer the overarching question of, is this document reliable? The second major skill you're going to be learning is contextualization. Contextualization answers the question of what else was going on around the time that influenced this document. So you need the sourcing information, the when and where it was created, what was different back then, or what was happening back then, what was the same, how might have the events back then influenced the author's perspective. And finally, how might the circumstances in which the document was created affect its content? So contextualization is basically just asking, how did events going on in the world influence the document I am reading? The third skill you're going to be learning is corroboration. Now, this one is just taking more than one document and comparing multiple documents. So anytime you use more than one document to back up a thesis or to back up an argument, you're corroborating. When you corroborate, you look at what other documents say. You check whether or not they agree. Why or why don't they? Are there any other documents you could use that might strengthen your argument or disprove your argument? And which of the documents you're seeing are most reliable? This happens all the time today, especially in courtrooms where lawyers, pull in as many documents and evidences from as many sources as they can to try to prove guilt or innocence. And it's used in a lot of other jobs too. So this particular skill will be super important no matter what profession you go into or where you end up in life. And finally, we're going to talk about textual evidence. Now, textual evidence is pretty straightforward. It is pulling direct evidence from the text, using the author's words to back up your information. So first, you'll need to write a thesis. You'll need an argument, right? Your argument can be based on any historical question. But the textual evidence is what backs up that argument. So you look at the claims the author makes, the evidence the author uses, what language he uses or she uses to persuade the audience, and how the document's language indicates author's perspective. After doing that, you take that information and you quote the most powerful lines that best support the argument you are making in whatever essay you are writing. So those are the four major skills we are going to be learning and going over. There'll be some links and activities later this week that will reinforce these ideas. So I hope that these make sense. And as I said, this is only an introduction. We will come back to these over and over again throughout the year.